So Walt, as the vice chair,
Okay.
I'm going to hand this over to you.
Call to order of the Northeast Kingdom Waste Management District Board of Supervisors meeting on Tuesday, April 14th, 2026 at 6:44 p.m. Number 2, is there any updates to the agenda? Okay, hearing none. Proceed to number 3, approval of the minutes of March 10th, 2026.
That sounded like a motion.
Okay,
I'll second that.
I'll second that. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Number 4, the annual meeting, the election of officers. The current slate of officers is the for the executive committee currently consists of Nick Rivers. He's the chair from Albany. Myself as vice chair, Walter McNeil. Paulette Ruthier, treasurer of Bill Brunswick Maidstone. Gene Perkins is clerk. Jack Smith is member of large Sheffield Wheelock. Steve Barrett, member at large Newport Center. There is a vacancy. Jan Clausen, member at large in Newark, stepped down as a supervisor. So the thought put before the full board is, first of all, is there anybody who wants to run for any of those positions and or the open position that was formerly held by Jan Clausen? Well, let me explain. The Board of Supervisors doesn't really meet they meet probably once or twice more than the full board meets.
The executive
The
committee.
executive committee, we meet to form the budget in September. There's really not many more times, and if we do meet, it's a half hour before the normal scheduled monthly meeting. There really is not a lot to do. It'd be really nice if somebody would volunteer to take the open position. Asking, please, someone. Crickets.
If we do have unfilled positions, we could also give people a little more time to think about it, and then at the next meeting,
Okay,
we could try to fill that.
that sounds good.
It's up to
You
you.
should think about it, Ken.
Would it be reasonable to elect the standing board with the exception of the one member that is stepped down at this time, and then at a future meeting elect another person to stand in for if so interested? If so, then I would make that motion.
If everyone on the executive
Everyone
board,
that is on the board now is agreeable to be on the board for the following year.
Jean,
Yes.
Paulette?
Yes.
Okay, so I am going to close the nomination process. And I need someone to cast basically a single vote.
well, yeah, or someone has to make a motion and
Make a
second, I
motion,
think.
yes.
I would make the motion then that the director, Mr. Thompson, cast the ballot for the
I don't-
board.
I don't believe I can legally vote.
Oh, okay. And I don't think.
I would vote for you. I'll say I
Yeah.
would vote for you, but I shouldn't.
I'll make the motion that one ballot be cast for the standing board with the exception of the one member not here.
I will second that, Gina Vino.
Who would like to pass that vote? Usually the clerk. Well,
All those in favor?
I'd like to have somebody who's not on the executive board, but we will have, Gene, will you cast that vote since you're on the clerk?
Move that, yes.
Okay. So Gene has moved a one vote for the executive board for this next coming year.
Okay.
Okay, moving on.
All those in favor?
Oh, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any sustained? Okay. Moving on next to recycling commodity spotlight number 1. Cardboard. I guess we'll turn this over to Chris.
Yep.
Oh,
All right. Can everyone see that?
yes.
Okay, so I thought it would be good just to kind of every month do a short presentation for you about the different commodities that we deal with, the different recyclables. It's been good for me to go through this exercise. Most of you have been around for quite a while, and so this will be a refresher. Try to stay awake. If you have popcorn, go ahead and start. But we'll just go through, starting with cardboard here. So the district took in about 420 tons of cardboard last year. Over 800,000 pounds of cardboard, which is crazy to think about that coming from the Northeast Kingdom. The Gaylords that are in front of you are what you have at your facilities. We use those same ones here now for folks that do walk-in recycling. Cardboard was 15% of the total weight of all the recyclables processed through our facility here, but it was by far the highest volume. So it takes up a lot of room, but it's awful light. But most of what we pick up for Gaylords is cardboard. So cardboard has what's called a circular economy. And what that means is that if you follow from the right-hand side, our residents bring their cardboard to a recycling facility. We go and pick it up every week. It comes to our facility. We bale it, and when we get enough, we ship it to a factory that will reformulate that old cardboard into either paper or new cardboard. And then it gets sent out again. And
what is the bottom? It's hidden by the ice.
yeah, that's kind of one of the problems with Zoom here. Hides a little bit of it. So 88% of the fibers in a cardboard box, in a new box, are from recycled cardboard. So it's one of the best commodities that gets used over and over and over. And as those fibers decline, instead of making a box out of it, they'll make paper or toilet tissue out of it. So we bring the cardboard back to our facility here. The large machine on the right is our baler. What we're trying to do is take in loose material and make it dense and easily transported material. So the cardboard is put into the baler, goes up the baler. As it's going up, we have employees that are checking the cardboard for any contamination. We've spoke about contamination here quite a bit, almost every month with some commodity or another. Sometimes it's styrofoam that's wet. Any material that shouldn't be mixed in with the cardboard is considered contamination. So we find plastic, we find glass, we find medical needles, we find pieces of angle iron. If any of these things, especially the metal, if it gets into certain parts of our baler machine, it could cause some really, really bad problems. So we're constantly screening the material as it goes up the baler. The equipment is designed to compress the cardboard into a cube, and that will make it easier for us to store it and easier for us to ship it in large quantities. This is the output from the baler machine. This is one bale of cardboard. It takes about 10 Gaylords full of cardboard to make one bale. That bale is about 1,100 pounds. The Gaylords average about 100 to 120 pounds when we get them, depending on if people have pushed them down and all your boxes are flattened, they'll be about 100, 120 pounds. The baler compresses all that loose cardboard at 3,000 PSI. And then as it moves through the baler, it gets to the end. And when the baler measures 42 inches long of the material, it will wrap it with 5 steel wires. We can move this bale around with a forklift. So you can see that close up of a bale right there, the variety of cardboards that are in there. There's also brown paper bags, box board. And just as a reminder, please take out any cardboard that's wet or dirty or, pizza boxes. You can use the top, but if the bottom's greasy, we don't want that sent to us. No wax coated boxes. We do see those quite a bit. So those boxes that have produce in them, often from supermarkets, have a wax, like a heavy wax coating. Those should not be in the recycling. And we just made up a bunch of signs for our facility here to encourage people to flatten your boxes. And that allows a lot more material to be placed into one Gaylord if people are breaking down their boxes. It also makes it easier for us with the baling process.
Possibly have a picture of one of the wax coated things, boxes.
No, I don't, but they're typically from a supermarket. They're only about that high, and they're really rugged, and the wax is pretty thick on them and glossy. They're usually vegetable or fruit boxes.
Hi, Katie.
So we have a broker who's kind of the intermediary between the facilities that have the material and the companies that process the recycled, buy and process the cardboard. So when we get enough bales stored up, you can see here we stack them 3 high in the warehouse. When we get at least 36 bales ready to go, we'll let the broker know. He will contact the various mills and arrange for the trucking. We can fit 36 bales onto an 18-wheeler, which adds up to about 40,000 pounds of material. The smallest shipment that the mills would like from us is 40,000 pounds, so we try to hit that target. The trucks, an empty 18-wheeler is typically 31,000 to 34,000 pounds. So if we put on 40,000, we'll make sure that he stays below 80,000 total, which is his limit to be on the road, 80,000 pound gross weight.
What mills do these go to?
Yeah, I'll get to that here.
Are they on pallet?
They are not on pallets. No, the mill doesn't want any of the pallets. These bales, they're so dense and so tight. You can get the forks of a forklift right underneath them and they stay together really well. That's kind of the cutaway of what it looks like on the 18-wheeler. They go too high. And then typically it takes up about 3/4 of the length of the truck. So the majority of our cardboard goes to Kruger Packaging, which is in Montreal, just on the outskirts of Montreal. It was founded in 1904, and it's a family-owned company still. They're not public, and they're in their 4th generation. They produce cardboard, boxboard, and other paper products. So when they get the cardboard, they're breaking apart those bales. The bales are put into a water chemical slurry to break the fibers down. And the fibers are separated into strong and weak fibers. The strong fibers are used to make new boxes. And then the weak fibers are used for toilet tissue and writing paper.
What about the tape that typically on the cardboard boxes now? The plastic tape kind of stuff.
Oh, it's almost like really thin paper with adhesive.
Plastic tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, preferably people would remove their tape. It doesn't really bother our machine very much, but if it's got a lot of, there's some boxes that come in that people have duct taped a lot, or they've got the big plastic FedEx label or something on them. If those could be peeled off, that would be helpful. So we get a price. The mill will tell us, a price of what they'll pay, but that is also subject to them what arrives at their facility. So we're only allowed a certain percentage of contamination in each bale. So if there are non-cardboard items in there, they will either not pay us for that bale or they'll knock the price way down. So the production of cardboard boxes, some people who invest in the stock market and some economists use it as an indicator of what the economy is doing. It's called, I think, the cardboard box index or something like that. And so they can kind of tell if box production's down, that means not many goods or fewer goods are being shipped around. And it's one of the leading indicators of economic strength. So you can see here in the chart from 2021 into 2026, box production is down rather significantly. It's not just an economic factor. There's also other reasons why boxes are not being produced, which I'll get to in a minute here.
Where
So
is this taken? Because I've got more cardboard through there and look. Fill everything, jump on it, pack it down. Do everything.
yeah, I mean,
What is it?
yeah, every facility, cardboard is the biggest thing that gets brought in by far. Yeah, and I know you have a lot.
Good product.
Yeah. So we're currently in what's called a cardboard recession. Cardboard box demand is the lowest in over 10 years. And this is because there's a reduced demand for manufactured goods and packaging. There's also been a shift in the type of packaging. There's a lot of companies that are finding cardboard not an ideal way to ship their products. And but in general, it's seen as an indicator of weak economic conditions and downsizing in packaging in general. Companies see packaging as an expense, so they're making it lighter, they're making it smaller. And this isn't just in cardboard, it's also in other plastics and other materials. And with the cost of shipping, I mean, I don't know if anyone has shipped UPS or FedEx recently, the shipping costs are really high. So the lighter that they can make the box, the better it is for them.
Because the recycling cardboard and make them into the those, I guess they're like the paper, but they say recycle them like the cardboard, the paper packages.
Yeah, cardboard can be made into paper. Yeah.
Okay.
And you'll see a lot of the brown paper that is stuffed inside of boxes that you get when you buy something. That's just old cardboard that's been used. So this is a chart of the price that the district has been getting over the last 5 years for our cardboard. So each of the dots on the line is an actual shipment that we've made over the course of the 5 years. So you can see in 2021, 2022, there was the COVID era, and everyone was home. Everyone was ordering on Amazon. There was a surge, a massive surge in Amazon shipping and other companies shipping. And the other side of that coin was there were supply chain problems because factories were either really slowed down or they had furloughed employees because of COVID. So demand went up. When demand goes up, then the price goes up. So prices spiked back in 2021, 2022 at just over $180 per ton. These are per ton prices. And then you can see as we came out of COVID, getting into 2023, the mills increased production, people went back to work, buying slowed down, cardboard box demand went down, and so the price plunged to under $40 a ton. And then it's slowly rebounded over the next year, but again, now it's in decline, and we're typically getting about $60 to $70 a ton right now. But you can see that how difficult it is for I guess for us to forecast revenue as a district when we are the prices we get for the commodities that we sell are not under our control. And for most commodities, prices are down at levels that they haven't been seen in quite a while. It's the same thing with plastic. The only bright spot really is the metals, which are the tin and aluminum. Prices are relatively stable. But other than that, most prices are pretty low at this point. So what's the future of cardboard packaging? Packaging cardboard use per capita is down 20% since 1999. Paper use in general is down nearly 40% since 2000. You all used to get your packets mailed to you. Now they're emailed. So paper demand is down significantly. And since a lot of paper is made from cardboard, that reduces cardboard demand and the price that we get. Just in 2025, cardboard container production was down 9%, which was the largest annual drop ever seen. A lot of older paper mills have closed. The mills that were the oldest and the most inefficient. The mills that are online now are newer and more modern. And those are the ones that some of the larger companies like International Paper, they're keeping their newer mills open, but closing the older ones. Yep.
You say that cardboard can be made into paper. Why do we then separate our cardboard from paper?
Because the broker has different outlets for paper than they do the cardboard. We get a completely different price for our paper. And when we have enough material to sell, the broker finds a willing buyer at the best price. And so that's kind of how that market works. There isn't a single buyer out there that wants our paper mixed in with our cardboard. If we made bales of that, we wouldn't have a market. It would just sit there.
Paper bleached and cardboard are not, right?
Yeah, I would assume light colored papers. Yeah. Yeah.
So is that part of?
Completely different processing, I would think, yeah. Again, I mentioned this earlier. People in the recycling industry use the term lightweighting, which is companies attempting to make their packaging as small and as thin and as light as possible, because it saves them on material costs and it saves them on shipping as well. So that just in and of itself will cause a natural reduction in the amount of cardboard needed and used. There's also developments in alternatives to cardboard. So you've probably seen more things shipped to you in fabric bags, which are extremely lightweight and cheap to make. It's basically like a woven bag with a adhesive label you peel off and you shut it, and you don't need a box. So a lot of clothing now is shipped in those types of bags rather than putting it in a cardboard box. Padded mailers are another thing that's been gaining usage. So the takeaway is we expect cardboard, the demand for our cardboard to slowly decline, as it has been, as the market demand changes and they switch to different products for shipping. So how does that impact the district? So you could imagine the impact just going from $180 a ton down to 70 is pretty dramatic. So when you take in, when you have reduced income from one commodity, it does put pressure on the way that we generate revenue as a district. In our current budget, about 7% of our entire budget, I believe, was anticipated to be from sale of recyclables. And around 80% is from the trash surcharge. So we would think over time, it's likely that the 7% will go down slowly, and we're going to have to make up the revenue somewhere else. There may be another commodity that gains in value that so we're kind of holding serve, but that's kind of an unknown at this point. So we will continue to have inflationary costs on all of the materials it does take to process all of our recyclables, increases in wages, healthcare costs. And so when you do get a drop in your commodity prices, it hurts your bottom line pretty quick. So just a general statement that we should probably think about alternate income sources in the future to make up for some of the loss if commodity prices stay low. And that was it for that. If anyone's still awake, I'll take questions.
Yeah. Chris, I think that was an excellent presentation, and it showed, I think, a lot of people exactly the process you go through. And you had mentioned that, we're currently getting X amount of dollars. The cardboard has to be clean.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain to the full board the difference in cardboard from the things that this district does, which is source separation versus single source, and how other districts, what they get or don't get from single source?
Yeah, so you can, we have people, our residents are separating their items, bringing them to the recycling centers, and then they're immediately put into Gaylords. So the cardboard is only in with other cardboard, and it's not in a blue bin with, yogurt dripping on it, or a motor oil container, or other wet or greasy items. It's keeping the cardboard cleaner. And then when we receive it, we will only run cardboard until we run out. So there's no other, it's a lot easier to screen the material as we're processing it, as opposed to single source, where if you're looking just for the cardboard, you've got to kick out half a dozen other commodities. And that takes some extremely expensive technology and sorting machines to do that. So really the public is our first line of defense, I guess you could say. And the better they are and the more educated they are at giving us clean material, the better we will produce. And ultimately, the better price we will get. Yeah. Ken?
What about wine bottles and other containers used to come in styrofoam? Starting about 5 years ago, they started making a product that looks like it's made out of some kind of cardboard that's been put into a slurry and made some kind of shape out of, and we have to keep crushing it. How do they make that product?
Well, when the cardboard gets to the mill, it's put into large vats and it's broken down into a slurry. And then that slurry is sprayed onto large sheets where it's dried, and then it ends up on big rolls. But they can spray that material onto a form, and then it just dries like that, and it's essentially shaped cardboard. So that they probably have a mold or a form, and then it's sprayed when it's wet, and then it dries in that shape.
And I think you'll find, especially the wine and stuff, that type is waxed on the outside like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah. Yeah, the wax boxes that we're concerned about are they're primarily produce
Yeah.
boxes, and they're heavily waxed. And the boxes themselves are substantial in weight when they're empty. Yeah, you'll notice you'll notice it when you see it. It'll stick out.
About the ice cream boxes?
Yeah, don't put those in because those are just box board with a thick layer of wax and paint. Yeah, ink. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on this subject? Hearing none, we'll move on to number 6, financials and operation funding.
Right. So I could share the screen again. All right, can everyone see that? All right, so month of March financially was not good. Expenses exceeded revenues by nearly $39,000. This is primarily low volumes of materials coming into the district facility, therefore low sales. We had very few sales in March. I think we only had a couple cardboard trucks, possibly one plastic. And it was a month where at the end of a quarter, end of the first quarter, we have large payments we need to make for property and casualty insurance, truck lease payments, quarterly workman's comp. And we also paid for our portion of new compost toters that we had received. So it was kind of a perfect storm of high expenses in the month and low revenue from sale of recyclables. So we are through the first quarter. So with 25% of the fiscal year complete, our revenues are at about 15% of what we budgeted, and expenses are just over 22%. So we anticipate seeing what's an annual shift as the summer months come in. The number of recyclables that will be coming into your facilities and eventually coming to ours will increase quite dramatically. We're hoping for a rebound in material prices that we get, which would help quite a bit. We will also see an increase in the surcharge that we get from trash disposal and construction demolition construction and demolition waste as construction season starts. So those are some things that we need to see happen. We are also seeing dramatic increases in diesel fuel prices. And I'll show our latest invoices from Fred's Propane here in a little bit. But that's really something that we did not budget for. And we are, every mile on the road, we're losing a significant amount of money over compared to what we budgeted for.
When we set the budget up, we had no way of knowing what was gonna take
No.
place, and
No idea. And yeah, we do get a better diesel price than retail, but it still hurts. Yeah, we're seeing, I think most of your towns, you're probably seeing $5.99 diesel. I've seen that around here, pretty common. Ken?
Do we need to have our sites try to hold back every other week or something, so you would be using your trucks less? Is that something we need to be looking at hard or not?
I don't really think that's a good solution at this point. Most of our facilities can't wait 2 weeks. I would say there's very few that could. And what would end up happening is there'd be so much material there, it would take us 2 runs to pick up everything from that facility to clean you out. So at this point, we'll stick with the same schedule we're on.
I know you guys consolidate when you come up to us,
Yeah.
so you pick up from the rest of them.
Mhm.
So, I mean, and that seems to be beneficial for the fuel cost thing, but.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, that's always it's one of those things that the driver kind of gets to make the call, whether to, even if you have the Gaylord on your list, if we arrive and it can be compacted enough so that you can add some more material, there may be times where you wonder, well, why didn't they take that? Or, we can shake down like the aluminum or the tin and get another week out of that. Because we try to make runs where we will pick up multiple facilities on the same trip, so the loop is more efficient. So we do ask for your patience. If you think something should have been picked up, there's oftentimes we can crush down the cardboard in particular quite a bit, and get another week out of it.
Trying, we did it as much as I could.
Yeah, I know a lot of folks try to find a way to compact it, and that's where breaking down your boxes and trying to keep them, stacked neatly, you can probably get 25% more weight in a box that's properly packed than loose.
Try and stuff them in the sides too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have
Yep.
miscellaneous in the budget stuff, and it's 370%. What's miscellaneous? $6,171. What is that?
Let's take a look at that.
The budget was $2,000 for the year. And you're already over the $7,400 total.
What line is that?
14. 14, Bravo and Charlie.
That's on the revenue side. Yeah, that was because we ordered compost toters for 2 other entities other than us, which we didn't have in the budget. So when we received those, they wrote us a check for their portion of the order. So it shows as a revenue, but if you look at the corresponding expense, yeah, the expense will also show.
And that's where the compost are being.
Yep.
On the lower part of the thing.
Yep. The only thing we had put in the bin in the budget was for the bins that we were going to purchase for ourselves.
Yep.
But when we pooled an order and got a better price, those 2 entities paid us. So we took in more, but we also expended more total. Ken?
We're hearing across the country from financial people that sale of alcohol is way down. It's affecting producers and everybody. It is often shipped in glass. Is that affecting our collection of glass and our income from glass or not?
That's a good question because glass is a money loser for us. We don't get any money for the glass that we bring in. In fact, we pay about $850 per truckload that goes out of the district. So we want people to recycle, but the more glass that we get is an extremely high cost for us because there's no market for it that will pay you for the material. We're paying to get rid of it.
What are they doing with it when you get rid of it?
They're grinding it up, and it's used primarily in asphalt and in concrete. So there's really not really any local markets for the glass. A lot of it's, I think there's some New England states that can use it in their roads, so it is mixed in, but it's hard to get rid of, and we have to pay to get rid of the glass. And we get so many, you know how heavy those wine bottles are. And we get a lot of wine bottles. Overall drinking might be down, but maybe the wine drinking's up, but those are extremely heavy and it costs a lot. We have to pay by the ton to get rid of our glass.
One question.
Yep.
And I'm sure you're totally more aware of it all that than I ever will be, but grant money, is there other possible places that we can find money and keep us, so we're in the black and not in the red?
Mhm. We're currently getting several grants annually. One of them is dedicated to household hazardous waste. So we do remote events around the district, and we also have twice a week all summer. We take in household hazardous waste here. And so we have a grant that offsets some of the costs of that, but not all. So that is also, a program that we lose money, but we think it's valuable and needs to be done so that people are properly disposing of those items. We do get a grant for handling fluorescent bulbs. We get a small grant for that because, again, we have to pay to get rid of those. And we get a grant for disposal of pesticides as well. But none of those, I don't believe any of those programs actually pay for themselves. The grant is, it helps, but we have to put out district money just to keep those programs going.
With the raising of the tire prices, are we beginning to break even with that, Chris?
It's a little too early to tell because the winter months are the slowest months because people had already had their tires swapped over.
Yeah.
And so, in the fall we haven't really seen many tires coming in yet this spring.
Yeah.
We had a couple large loads of tires come in from municipalities, but I anticipate, as the weather's getting warmer, we're going to start getting in 4 at a time from quite a few people. I think it's going to take another quarter at least to kind of see where we're at there.
Just take probably pretty much of the whole year before we realize where we're at.
Mm-hmm. So continue here. We had our annual audit, and it's quite an undertaking. Michelle, our administrative assistant, provides our auditing company with a lot of documents electronically. She sends them, so those are reviewed at the offices of the auditor, and then the auditor spent a day and a half on site looking through our record keeping, our paper files, everything with our grants, payroll, vacation, invoices we've paid. It's extremely thorough. So we should be getting the audit results in the next month or two, I would think. And those will be shared with the,
Does every district
Sure.
have an annual audit?
I don't know, but I would find it highly odd if they didn't. Yeah. In most organizations, like ours, it would be written into their charter, most likely, that it's required. Just as a check and balance.
Are we the only recycling district in the state that is doing our source separation method of collecting?
We are, you can count on one hand. I mean, I think there's over 20 districts, and there's probably less than 5 that sort their own materials. The districts, there's other districts and most other that bail their material, but they have, they have multi-million-dollar facilities that it comes in as single stream, and then it's all sorted. Some of it's handwork, but a lot of it's robotics and modern sorting equipment, and then they can separate their items that way.
Would it be useful if we adopted such a design?
I can't answer that. I couldn't imagine what it would cost, and I think we need to. I think there's room to improve what we're currently doing, and think and work within that framework and make some improvements. And I'll be bringing some stuff to the board over the next few months about, I think you made the right step on the tire decision. There's some obvious places where, the district is losing a significant amount of money because a program is being run, in a way that doesn't have to be. It can be changed, but there's just ways that other districts are doing things that we're not. We seem to have kind of stagnated, and so I'll leave it at that for now. But I'm looking at things that we can change to have some improvement on the financial side of things. Legislation. So the Vermont legislature has got a few weeks left, and so the bottle bill is kind of still in play, but it's been narrowed down to there's certain people who think that there aren't enough places in some parts of the state to redeem your nickel cans, and that might be a reason why more people aren't recycling their cans. I think I mentioned at the last meeting, about 72% of the cans that can be recycled are being recycled. So there's still that, 25-30% left. So there's a push to either expand the existing facilities that take nickel cans, or add them to certain stores by actually helping them build the infrastructure if they're willing. That's kind of still up for debate. It hasn't passed yet, but there was talk early on in the legislative session about adding other beverage containers to the list of recyclables. And like I mentioned with glass, if we could divert the wine bottles, it would save a significant amount of money for the district, because right now we're just taking them in; they're not being diverted. So, there's some work that maybe the legislature could do to help all of the waste districts. If more of these containers could be recycled by bringing them back to a redemption center. On the other side of that coin, if we were getting aluminum cans diverted more, then aluminum is has the highest price that we get for material, so it would hurt on that end too. So
how much in funds is the surplus bottle,
What is it
how
up?
much does the state have in surplus funds
I,
from the non redemption of
right.
cans?
Yeah, I explained last time. So if you buy a 6-pack of beer, you're gonna have your 30 cents collected at the register. That money goes into a state fund, and then people who don't, those bottles that don't end up being redeemed, you know, they're in the woods somewhere or thrown in, or they're in the landfill. That money builds up, and I think it's somewhere around $25 million at this point. But because there's money sitting there, you know, whenever you have money sitting there and you have a legislature, lots of different constituencies approach the legislature and say, I would like a slice of that. I would like 1/8%. You know, I'd like 1% of that. And so most of it has gone towards clean water initiatives up to this point. So the idea of skimming some of that money and putting it back into redemption centers is a relatively new idea. And we don't know yet if it's going to pass. Moving down to our facility. So we have 3 people who are taking hazardous waste training. It's a certification that's required for people who are going to accept hazardous waste from the public, employees at facilities that are going to store hazardous waste, and then people who are going to ship hazardous waste. So I finished my certification a few weeks ago. We've got 2 other staff that are about 2/3 done right now. The goal is to get them certified by the time we start our remote hazardous waste collection, which will start in May. And I think we have 8 or 9 of those events planned on Saturdays throughout the summer. And your town might be on the list.
Oh, baby.
Let's see. We had a visit from a couple representatives of organizations that handle some of the hazardous material. Most people don't think of paint or a battery as hazardous, but you can imagine if they get into the landfill, then they get into the leachate coming out of a landfill. They are toxins. So all of our batteries, that's one of those programs that kind of pays for itself. We do get some reimbursement. We have a cost, of course, of collection, but the battery manufacturers have been forced to create an organization called the Battery Network, and they send us 55-gallon drums with fire suppressant material, and we can load the batteries and that fire suppressant into the drums, and then they pay the shipping back to their facilities where those batteries are taken apart and the valuable metals are reused. So that one, is kind of a revenue neutral. We do get a little bit of income on some of the batteries. And then Paint Care is the other producer organization. People who turn in latex paint and oil paint to us, some stains. We collect that, and then they will come and pick it up at no charge to us. And they also provide the bins and the pallets that we need to stockpile that material.
First, I just have a question on the Battery Network.
Yep.
Is this mostly lithium ion or just regular?
Just about every type of battery you could imagine. So single use, what they call primary batteries. We used to just use them, take them out, throw them away. They take those, they take button cells, they take cordless tool batteries, lithium ion batteries.
And they go in the same container as it?
Yeah.
Oh, they can all go together?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep. Yep.
what about the?
There's a fire suppressant that they provide us that's kind of just they're glass-like beads. And we kind of make a parfait with a layer of beads, layer batteries, layer beads, and then when the barrel's full, we can ship it back. And we also have specialized drums for batteries that are damaged. You know, some of them you'll see they're swelled or leaking. Those we have to ship in a special container to ensure that they make it without, you know, burning down a UPS truck.
Mm.
Oh. What else here? I think that was it for those updates. I wanted to show you one more document here. So here's the latest invoice on diesel we purchased. So we're over $5 a gallon now, which like I said, it is cheaper than retail, but not really anything we budgeted. We budgeted probably $1.50 to $2 lower than this for fuel prices. So we're up to over $500 a week now just for fuel. So we're going to run a significant deficit on the fuel line, that's for sure. Because even if prices drop back, they never drop back as quick as they go up. So let's hope that this doesn't persist into the summer.
Yep.
Yep.
Trucks towed a trailer. Would that be helpful to save gas? So they can get more materials?
That sounds very unreasonable and dangerous, in my opinion. If you've seen the size of our box trucks, and our box trucks, they don't require a CDL. And so I think that would probably trigger some additional licensure requirements that we don't want to get into. And if a lot of the facilities are pretty tight trying to back up the truck we have already. So
And
Yep.
point out to the full board of supervisors that anyone can avail themselves of the facilities across the street and bring your recyclables there and therefore cut down on what you're at your own facility
you could,
and maybe
yeah.
stretch things a little bit. That's much more realistic thing to do.
Yeah, there's probably 8 or 10 towns around Linden that use Linden as for their shopping and youth sports and other things. Most of the towns directly around us don't have stores. And, so yeah, a lot of people come through here.
How are we doing with the hardcover books and stuff? I know the last time last meeting you were telling us that the outfit out of Rhode Island
Yeah.
comes and picks them up.
Yep. Yeah, we're almost to the point where we're going to make a second shipment. We're not quite there yet, but I have to say people have been doing a better job. You know, you can now put soft cover and hard cover in the same bin. Most of you have barrels. We have a Gaylord here for books because we get so many in. But at the beginning, a lot of people were putting catalogs and town reports, anything bound, they were putting it into the book bin, and those can't go in there. So we have been handpicking them out, and magazines. But I think people overall are doing a lot better, and I think people are getting used to it. It just takes time whenever you make a change like that. I think you know, I think most of the attendants are clued in now on what to look for, and so yeah, we get a lot more books in. Once the college is let out, we may get a surge. When school's let out, we might see a surge. And then in the fall, the libraries, after they do their book sales, which are typically in the fall, we had quite a few come in from libraries last year. But no, we still have an agreement with that company. We just haven't shipped again yet. So
Try and change some of the books that I see go through there.
there's some beautiful books, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But there's also the moldy been in the been in the cellar on the shelf
Oh,
for
yeah.
50-year books too, so.
My biggest problem is I don't have area enough to,
Yeah. Yep. Books tend to outgrow their space, that's for sure.
Okay, is there any other questions on the financial and operations update? Okay, hearing none. Number 7, other business. Is there any other business?
Not for me.
I just have a question. If I can ask a question before we leave.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I have batteries that are, they're corroded and stuff, and I have them in sand.
Mhm.
What do I do with those that are in sand?
So
Am I,
you did the right thing. The best thing to do is put them in a metal container with sand. And then just have it put onto your pickup slip next week
okay,
and let us know you have it and we'll grab it.
okay, so I have like a special bucket for it, but do you want it like in a coffee can or something to be shipped?
That would be preferable, but if you already have it in one of the cat litter buckets or something like that, if you already have it in a bucket with sand, that's fine. We'll take it.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Yep. Any other facility questions?
Hey,
Marcus, our outreach coordinator, is on the call, and he'd be happy to visit and share his knowledge. He was with the district for quite a while and is clued in and has visited most of your facilities. So he's a great resource if anyone has any questions.
I wasn't planning on turning my mic on tonight.
You ought to add him to a presentation some month. On what
Okay.
he does.
Did you hear
We
that?
could all take advantage of him.
Yes,
Yep. He'd be happy to do that, I'm sure.
I'll help you with your monthly ones when you're doing the commodity stuff too, if you'd like.
Okay.
so, again, any other business? Hearing none.
Make
Have
a motion to
I'll
adjourn.
make the motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All those in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you guys have it.
Have a nice night.
Good night,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Everyone.
Good night, Marion.
Thank
you, Paulette. Good night. Thank you for everything.
I'd like to thank all that came here tonight. I tend to push to have some meetings in person. And at least showed up, so I appreciate it right there.
Nope.